My name is Mel Lemon, and I am the manager of the BBB Educational Foundation. That is the philanthropic arm of the BBB. I go out with my marketing team and we speak with people in the community. As you know, BBB is a 501c3, so we have a community service that we have to perform. My area does that. We do it for free, and the major platform that we are focusing on right now is scam awareness and prevention. Billions of dollars are lost every year to scammers. Technology, even though it is progressive, it is convenient, it is fast, there's also a dark side. And predators, they love the internet. So, me and my team, we go out and we teach people what to look for, what to do if you're a victim, and how you can protect yourself. That is our commitment to the community. We also go out and speak to businesses. We teach about, and that's part of your accreditation if you're an accredited business here. We go out and we teach business topics, business ethics. As you know, the BBB is about best practices, about integrity. We speak on those things. Those of you who are accredited with us, we're expecting that from you, and other businesses who are not accredited. Today, this business card exchange is part of the accreditation. We will do 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 of them, depending on how successful they are, for you, because we want to help make your business grow. So, I know you want your business to grow, so BBB wants to help you with that. So from time to time, we will have subjects that we feel will help you, will promote you, will encourage you, will empower you. We want that for you. Today, our presenters are from High Achievement. Ms. Jodi Lehman.
Yes.
And Mr. Liddell Joe, call him Mr. Joe. I call her Ms. Jodi. They're going to be speaking today about a subject that's very, very important to business, especially today. Our speakers, they are talking about a subject that is going to be very, very important to your business. It's called credit. It's that money line. I looked into them. As you know, the Better Business Bureau is not an endorser, but we do vet those people that we deal with and that we put before you. It's important that they are not a scam, but that they're legit and they're trustworthy. I did my due diligence on their company. They have changed the minds and the credit scores of thousands of people with information and ideas that they're going to share with you today. The testimonials on their website didn't just show words, it showed pictures, which let me know that those people are real. They gave those testimonies because they were satisfied, they were encouraged, they were empowered in some kind of way from what High Achievement taught them and did for them. So I'm hoping today that they'll do the same for you. But before we get started with them, I want to acknowledge and thank one of our sponsors who sponsors the Educational Foundation. Mr. White, would you please stand up?
Mr. White!
Thank you. Has pledged to the Educational Foundation dollars to support our initiative. And in doing that, we will be advertising him for the next 6 months on everything that we do.
Thank you.
So I'm going to just put this shout out there. Thank you, Mr. White. Put this shout out there. If you would like to sponsor the Educational Foundation, please let me know. I have information that I can offer you or give to you today. Also, you can obtain that information from Mr. Jeff Akins. He's also a part of the BBB.
Hi, Jeff.
He is our corporate salesperson. Got a couple of other staff people here. Candace Rugenstein is over Customer Engagement Manager. And our new addition, powerhouse, Kelly Johnston. This is our marketing manager. She and I work a lot together. We go out a lot together, and we're going to do some exciting things, Kelly.
We have a lot of fun together.
Hey. So I just wanted to share that information. I wanted to introduce our staff. If you have any questions regarding your accounts, see Candace. She is over customer engagement. If you're interested in the Educational Foundation, you could speak with myself, Mel Leonard, or Jeff Akins. And while Mr. Joe is getting ready to come on up, I'm going to pass out something because we're going to have a raffle, and I'm going to give you the sheet. Need you to fill it out. So, Mr. Joe, you can kind of set up your stuff while I'm getting this out. Okay?
Excellent.
Come on, Mr. Joe. Let's give him a hand.
Thank you. Thanks, man. Let's give Mel a hand, please. As Jodi and Kelly set up for the presentation, I want to thank you all for coming out. That's first and foremost. This is a beautiful sunny day in Michigan. It may snow tomorrow. But I truly want to thank you for coming out. And I've met all of you that's been here. There's a couple I haven't met as of yet. But I want to say this to you before we go into the presentation. Any questions you may have, please fill out the form, and the questions, we'll pick it up, and we can do a Q&A towards the end of the presentation. But I also want you to think about a couple things before everything is set up. Kelly, thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Excellent. A couple things. I am Lindell Joe. That is a fact. Many of you that I already know, and those who I don't know, I am called Mr. Joe. Okay? And the reason that I'm considered to be Mr. Joe is because I believe names are important. Very important. And what my name entails is the J is for just, the O is for overcome, and the E is for everything. So therefore, when you say, hey, Mr. Joe, what are you telling me to do?
Just overcome everything.
And that's what I shall do. I just want to say once again to my business partner, Jodi Lehman, thanks for your help. And one of the things we want to do is get right into it, okay? I have 25 years of experience in credit in conjunction with being in the credit field, and I'm also certified. And Mel was correct. The BBB does their homework. You're not just going to get up here and just be able to have an attentive audience, an educated audience, and an audience that looks as beautiful as you do to be able to articulate to them. That just won't happen. Okay? So therefore, what I'm going to talk to you about today is credit. What do you know about credit? What do you think you know about credit? Why is credit important? Two things that I'm going to share with you is that credit is everything. There's no way that you can exist without credit in the United States at this point and at this time. Thanks. A couple things. Are you aware of the currency scenario that's going on in the United States in conjunction with China? Right now, we are not the #1 currency in the world as we speak. How is that going to impact your business? Very simple. You're talking about doing business with the digital yen in China. Okay? The United States is in great competition right now. Your business has to be aware of these various international things that will become domestic, that will impact you. I am here today to bring you a level of knowledge. I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to bring value to you. You will walk out of this room with a different concept about credit. We do two things at the High Achievement Center: challenge and change mindsets. Period. That's what we do. One of the reasons that you are your business is because now we need to discuss something about credit. Let's talk about the good, the bad, the happy, the sad. Because credit now is at a tight fist. If you don't have elite, exceptional, supreme credit, it's very difficult to borrow. And a lot of our clients that we interact with have very challenged credit. But fear not, I'm here to bring some clarity to that as well. Because one of the things that you can do is put yourself in an ideal position. Because we all agree, knowledge is power, yes?
Yes.
That is true. But if you don't know much, you can't do much. That is true as well. So one of the things we're going to focus on is that the banks, because that's where you get the money from. So the question is, are you aware, in a show of hands, of what just happened with Silicon Valley Bank, and also the Bank of Signature Bank? Yes? Anyone's aware? Beautiful. Couple people? Okay. Let me say this to you. All of you should be aware. Why is that important, Mr. Joe? Well, here's why. You want to borrow money. You need to have a savings account. You need to have an emergency fund because you are your business. So what do you do when you can't go and borrow money from the bank? What do? You ever thought about that? The other day when I was putting the presentation together, I said to myself, what do you do when you can't borrow money? Do you know what you do? You deal with the consequences of not being able to pay your bills. So if you're a business owner, how does that affect you? How does that impact your life? How does that impact what you do on a daily basis as a business owner? Or if you are an employee of a business, how does that impact you? Are you going to be at that business long? Probably not. Here's something I also want you to think about. Why do you need credit? Why is there a need for personal credit? A couple reasons why there's a need. Because, very simple, everything is affected by credit. How do you buy a home? How do you get a vehicle? How do you get an educational loan? You need credit. Why is that important? It's important for a couple reasons. Because if you have exceptional credit, even what's happening right now in the economy, it won't impact you greatly. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're dealing with a situation that you have an emergency. It can be medical. You have an emergency. It can be something, someone stole your vehicle. How do you obtain a new vehicle? How do you do that if you don't have credit? How do you do it if you have exceptional credit? Let me give you an example. Number one, let's say you have exceptional credit. Someone steals your vehicle. You still got to get to work tomorrow, yes? Okay, what do you normally do? Nowadays, you take an Uber, right? Or you do something to be able to get you in a position where you can obtain a car. So that means you going to the dealership. How are you going to the dealership if you have bad credit? You're not. Can you go to the dealership if you have exceptional credit? Of course you can. Where does the stress come in at? Stress comes from when you don't know what to do. So it's not the situation. It's predicated on you understanding that you are your business, but you understanding how important exceptional credit is. Now, what is exceptional credit? Let's talk about that right quick. What is exceptional credit? What does that look like? Anybody know what exceptional credit looks like? Yes.
Over 800?
Yes, that's exceptional. How about this? 760. That's exceptional credit as well. 760 to an 800 to an 850 is exceptional credit. What does that mean? You have the ability to borrow no matter what circumstances and at any time frame. That's essential to your existence in the United States at this point in time. Because stress comes from what? When you don't know what to do. Not so much the situation. There's a couple files that I want to share with you and show you that you need to be aware of they are not exceptional. They hinder you from being able to borrow. Is it easier to borrow $250,000 or earn $250,000? Borrow? Okay. Why is that? Yes?
Because you don't have to put in the work. Your background shows and your credit shows that you're able to pay that back.
Let me give it to you this way. When you have exceptional credit, that's your financial resume. And it speaks volumes for you. And when you have that level of understanding of, as you go into the dealership, It puts you in a different mindset if you're obtaining the vehicle. When you're looking to obtain that home, or you're looking to be able to rent, is a big issue. You have to have exceptional credit when the economy is in a recessional state. And that's where we're at. One of the things you're going to see on the screen right there is an individual who has what is called a synthetic file. A synthetic credit file. What does that mean? I'll explain. A synthetic credit file is when an individual has just authorized users. Are you clear what an authorized user is? Are you clear what a primary account is? An authorized user is an account where it's just an individual that's borrowing someone else's credit history. That's what an authorized user is. What is a primary account? A primary account is an account that you're responsible for yourself. This individual here, Mr. Mike Jones, is 43 years old. He has a Discover. He has a Chase card, Bank of America. None of it's his. Can this individual borrow?
No.
No, you're correct. He cannot. Can he borrow in a recession?
No.
Definitely not. Are we in a recession?
Yes.
Definitely we are. The point that I'm making to you is you must have clarity about your credit at this point in time because it's going to impact your day-to-day life. Without that level of clarity, without this level of understanding what a synthetic file is, it puts you in a compromising position. 43% of my clients come into the office, they say, Mr. Joe, I got great credit. Look at the score. He still can't borrow because he has no control over any of those accounts and they're not attached to him and he's been off the credit grid. This person here is in trouble in the recession unless they come see us. Because what we do is we help that individual. How do we help them? With a level of education, first and foremost. You have to be educated about your credit. Do you not know you're going to die with your credit score? You're going to have your credit score for the rest of your life. You ever thought about that? So you have to understand it to be able to master it. A synthetic file is not a file that you want to be involved with. Number two, you have a thin file. 26 million Americans have a thin file. A thin credit file. That means their capability of borrowing is very difficult. Let's talk about Ms. Miller right quick. This is a good one. Ms. Miller is an individual who wants to obtain a vehicle. She goes to the, I tell all my clients, go drive the car that you want. Go drive that car. Feel it, enjoy it, smell it. You know how that new car smell is? She was so excited. But guess what happened? They say, yes, you can get a vehicle. No problem. Bring us a cosigner. Because you have a thin file. You want to have control in the United States. This type of file limits your ability to have control. Because if you have stress, it's very difficult for you to be in a level of control. And that's what we all want, control, security. Control and security is the cousin of happiness. How do you get it with a thin file? You can't. Be aware of a thin file. Last but not least, look at the credit scores. Decent, but not in a recession, which we are in. So you have to have elite credit understanding at this point in time. Here's number three. 40 million Americans have an invisible credit file. That's a big issue. What do you do about that? Mr. Smith, let's talk about this person. This person is 36 years old. I see clients like this all the time. They have no credit history whatsoever. How do they function? They've been a cash and carry person. You have to come into the digital age, no matter if you want to or not. You're going to have to elevate yourself. And at the High Achievement Center, that's what we do. We promote education at a high level, but we also evaluate various levels of your habits. What are your habits for a person of this nature? I'm just going to pay for everything. Don't worry about my future in regards to anything else. Look at this credit score. That's what I said. Exactly. Yeah, I said that. 40 million Americans, non-available. So what does that person do? How does that person function? Well, first and foremost, they have to get serious about their credit. You have to make a decision. Consequences come with credit. Understanding must be incorporated with the credit. So this person here is at a capacity level where they have to educate themselves and take the initiative. I want to pivot and ask you something now that I sit here and I look upon you. What makes you unique? What makes you unique? Is your name more important than your credit score? Think about that. You go to the dealership. What are they concerned with more so? Your name or your credit score? Interesting. How about this? If you're dealing with a realtor. Right. Let me let you answer. Which one?
Credit score for
Okay, credit score. So why your name is not credit score? Exactly. So I want you in that mindset. And when you come through the door at the High Achievement Center, that's what happens. We educate you about a different, unique way of thinking about credit. Because credit is the key to your success, knowing that you're already successful. What is something that bothers me? There's something that bothers me the most in this point in time about our society, is that this young lady is correct. Credit is at the forefront. So how do you alleviate that? How do you understand to be able to navigate that when you need something as a necessity? You make a decision. Today, any of you that's not at a 760 capacity level, get serious about your credit. Understand the uniqueness of having credit, because you cannot flourish to a level of happiness by not having credit at this point in time, because we are in a recession, and you are correct in regards that your FICO score is more important than your name. Ponder that today. Think about that. That's crucial. Last but not least, build credit. How do you build credit? How fast can you do it? You got an element of time. There's no such thing as speed when you talk about credit. I want to give you something that you can walk out of here with and have it engrossed into your character about credit, which is this. When you are at a capacity level where you want to be your best, you have to be that way on a continuance. And therefore, the only way to be that way is having a true understanding about credit. Why do I say that to you? Because the key to your business is credit. Why is that? Because you are your business. And it starts with you understanding everything you do calculates your ability to be able to borrow. So the key element to credit is very simple. It's understanding, it's understanding, it's understanding. Okay? Now, take a look at this. This is a credit builder file. This is a prototype. This client was in a position where we guided them on how and what to do with their credit so they can be in a position to connect themselves with their business in conjunctions to be able to be knowledgeable, to be able to get funding to help their business grow. This individual was a year's time frame. Year's time frame. It took a year. You say, Mr. Joe, a year is a long time. Not really. Year is very short. It's 12 months. It's 12 months. As you see at the top, credit strong. Think about that. That's a credit builder program that allows you to be able to put up your own cash in conjunction with being able to report to the credit bureaus. The 3B stands for three bureaus, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Also, you see Open Sky, similar component. The diversification of this credit file allows this person to have elite credit. Also, are you familiar with, you can add your rent to your credit report. Okay, it's called Boom Pay. We have systems that allow you to be effective, efficient, quickly, with clarity, with a key level of understanding. That's one of the reasons why Mel brought up a key point in regards to how individuals respond to the High Achievement Center. Because you come in, you rattled, you shook up, you don't know what to do, and then we captivate your ability to be able to understand that you're not on the path by yourself with having bad credit. It impacts your life. Kickoff. It's a trade line that you can add to your credit report as well. This individual's credit score looks of this nature, less than a year's time frame. Our program is 4 to 6 months, efficient, effective, and also highly motivated to look and evaluate your habits that you have. Because more than likely, if you have challenged credit, don't feel embarrassed. That's the number one thing that happens. People feel embarrassed. They don't want to get it done. You have to deal with it aggressively. Last but not least, before we bring Jodi up, the key to looking this way in a recession is the ability for you to be able to borrow so your business can keep going. Anybody affected by the recession right now, by a slowdown in business? Please raise your hand. Anyone? Anyone? Okay, let me put my hand up. Okay. But having capital allows you to be able to sustain. And if you can sustain, you can continue with your business at a capacity level that's a high rate. And one of the reasons why this is ideal is because you cannot run from the AI software that is here and that's coming. Okay? So if you have a collection account, you're going to have to settle it. Do you know what to say? My number one approach is hire a coach. Hire a coach. And you police the coach. Because if you're not an expert and you don't know what to do, you're wasting time and you need clarity and you need resolve. And the only way to get that is hire a coach. Mr. Joe, why do you say hire a coach? Let's keep it very simple. I specialize in simplicity. The reason you hire a coach is because you're living your life. You're in your life. A coach can see you from afar. The advice that I give to clients, again, is straight to the point of the core of the essence of who that person is. And their number one goal is to be able to have excellent credit so they can do what they want to do. Credit keeps you in control. When you don't have credit, you have to react. When you have credit, you have options, you have choices. As we bring Jodi up, I want you to know it's the second phase of You Are Your Business. Jodi Lehman.
All right, well, thank you everybody who came out today. We appreciate that. And what I'm going to talk about when I'm referring out to You Are Your Business, I'm talking to the small business owners, whether you're self-employed, a freelancer, or actually have employees. The SBA states that 99.9% of businesses in the United States of America are small businesses, which means 500 employees or less. And out of those businesses, 26% fail in their first year. And so this is why we are talking about You Are Your Business, because it correlates with your personal and your business credit. And even though they're two separate, you have your person, you have your business credit, or you're going to be building your business credit, you're going to have to, they're related, because you're going to have to be the co-signer or the guarantor of any business credit that you get normally for the first 5 years. Because businesses are high risk, period. And so if you think if your personal credit is high risk, where's your business credit? That's even higher. So what happens is that as a personal effectiveness coach at the High Achievement Center, I believe that self-management is the key to success in life. And when I'm talking about self-management, I'm talking about your time, your organization, and your financial management. Because when I audit businesses, I always let the numbers talk. Let's see what the numbers have to say to you, because they don't care if you're happy and they don't care if you're sad. They don't care if you're crying today or laughing tomorrow. The numbers are the numbers. And so what happens is that when we're thinking about your small business and maybe you're just starting out, or you already have a business, or you're thinking about starting a business, you have to build a base foundation. And that foundation has to be solid. And the reason why we always start with our clients with doing an audit on their business is because if you don't have that solid foundation set, when you're ready to go to the bank to get business credit, you're now, and it's not there yet, you're gonna have to go backwards to move forward. And so just like Mr. Joe said, in today's economy, I just had a client actually the other day. She came in for her business audit, and I had met with her about 4 months ago, but she didn't follow the path. So now she has to go backwards again, and now she missed that window for business financing because everything just tightened up on her. So she delayed her own business credit success. And what happens is that when we're going through this, I'm going to, you don't have to take notes on what I have a flyer for you if you'd like it at the end of the session to take with you. Because I'm going to go over the 7 essential ingredients of building your business foundation. First and foremost is what everyone thinks is your business name and entity type. However, when you're picking your business name, please pick something that is relatable to your product or your service. And I had a gentleman that I did his business audit, and his company's name was Ubiquitous Capital Holdings. Okay, we know what Capital Holdings is, right? Investments. But what is ubiquitous? I mean, I can't even spell it. So if I can't spell it, how is your consumers gonna find you? If they can't spell it, they can't even Google you. So it's important to have a name that defines what you're doing as a business. Then you have your business address. You have 2 options. You can do a commercial or you can do residential. Now, I know many small businesses want to do their residential because why? It's cost effective. But when you're looking to get to the point where you're going to obtain business credit, you need to have commercial because it does a couple things. One, it helps separate you from your business. So if I'm looking up John's Construction and I know it's at 27051 Telegraph Road, I know that's a commercial address versus 321 Walnut Drive. Okay? And so the institutions like to see that separation. Because when we're talking about this, it's really what do the banks like to see? It's not what you really want. Because as a small business owner, the point is you have to put money, you have to invest in your business because that's your business. That's how you're earning your income. Also, by having a commercial address, it gives your business more credibility and a more professional look to it. Business phone number and voicemail. Sounds simple, but I've seen many people come into my office that are using their own personal cell phone number for their business phone number. And then, instead of having a voicemail, they have the automated, hi, you've reached 313-555-555. Okay, great, who am I calling? If I went to Bank of America and I asked for credit and I gave them my phone number and they reach an automated service, do you think that works for them? Do you think that's credibility or not? So I implore you to please get another phone number just strictly for your business. And then create a voicemail that is a professional voicemail. A human being gives you that special touch. The other point of having your own dedicated phone line is that you know anyone that's calling that number is straight for your business. So that gives you the ability to answer your new clients or your current clients in a timely fashion. You don't have to worry about who's calling me. Is it my mom? Is it my kid? No, you pick it up because that's your business. Then you have your business email address. Now, I always prefer a professional email address, but I know when people start out their business. They don't necessarily get the website right away. So I always suggest that you get a business email address that says your name at gmail.com or yahoo.com. Because I've seen people with using their personal address, and so it's Jenny from the block at yahoo.com. Okay, I thought this was James Pet Care. I don't know. So who am I really communicating with? It also gives you the ability to utilize that address, email address, when you're setting up your business, so that everything that is business related goes to that business address. Now, once you have all of those 4 items set, now's the time for you to set up with the state of Michigan. If you don't set up with the state, you're actually not doing business. You're not legitimate. So you have to be set up with the state. And then that gives you your profile, because everybody gets to see your profile on the state website. And that's important because when you go to the bank, they're gonna look it up. And if you start out with a commercial address off the jump, you are already gold in their eyes because you are that type of customer that they're looking for. Now, once you have those items, you can go to the IRS and get your federal tax ID or EIN number, and that's going to be imperative because you need that to get your business banking account. There is no more intermingling funds, no more cash out to your own personal account. You are a business, so you have to structure yourself as a business. It's very imperative that you have a business checking account so that you don't commingle your funds. Now, website, email, that's the professional email I'm talking about, and your logo. Why do you need a website? Well, everybody here, I'm certain, whenever you are looking for something, whether it's a new restaurant or a location to get your hair done, you're Googling it. And if I'm gonna Google it and I don't find a website, or I can't find you, well, first of all, you've just lost a customer. Number 2, if I can't find a website, but I met you and I thought, oh yeah, let me try their service, I'm now a little hesitant of even trying you because that doesn't provide that professional look for you. And so that's why it's imperative in today's world, everything is tech. You have to have a website. And that's where you decide what your logo and your colors are gonna be, and then you put it on your website. If you don't know how to do a website, there's a lot of people out there that can help you with it. And so it's just really getting to that core. After that, make certain, no matter where you're selling or you're doing your service, whatever city that is out of, you check with your city, your county, and the state to see if you need any permits or license, because you want to make certain that you're doing business the correct way according to those ordinances that they want you to do. Now, the point is, once you have these main ingredients, you're really set to now start functioning as a business. And what will happen is that as a new business, you won't have credit yet. And credit comes for business on Dun & Bradstreet. Experian has a business arm, and so does Equifax. And so whenever you're going to get a vendor account or a merchant account, this is why it's important to have everything, all your ducks in a row. Because now when someone reports to the Dun & Bradstreet, what are they reporting? Your commercial address, all your information that they know, so you don't have to go back to clean anything up. It's done from square one. 2 factors in preparing to get business credit. 1, you want to maintain strong financial records. This is where having your business checking account comes into play, because all your money from your business, even cash, needs to go into the business checking account. And the reason being is this. Mr. Joe talked about people with limited credit or maybe even poor credit. As a business, there's 2 really sets of financial institutions in today's world. We have the traditional institutions, which is like Bank of America, Huntington Bank, or a credit union. But now we also have the fintech, which is, they're using AI software. So you have like Divvy or Capital on Tap. And the difference is that when you're using fintech, they're not really asking you to look at your business credit. But what they are asking you is, let me look at your business checking account. And what happens is, once you apply to them, they literally pull up a screen and they ask you to put in your username and password to wherever you bank at. Because now they're gonna pull either 3 to 6 months worth of your past bank statements, and they're gonna use whatever metrics they use and their data points to determine if you're a viable candidate for them to give you business credit. Saying that, if you have overdrafts, don't bother. They're not gonna give you any credit at all. Because if you can't manage liquid cash, how are you gonna manage credit? So it's very important in today's world to really think about what you're doing with the income coming into your business and your business expenses that are coming out. And then also, please, file your taxes on time. I have seen businesses come in that I audit and they haven't filed taxes for 2 years, 3 years, and they really put themselves behind the 8 ball, because even if you had some business credit through vendors or merchants, what happens is that we can't even help you till you get that satisfied. Because regular traditional institutions like to make certain that they can see what you have done in the past. And also, it gives you the ability with your bank checking account is you can use software to create profit and loss statements, which is critical. Because as a small business owner, you need to know, what's the money coming in, what's the money going out, is this making sense? I had a gentleman, he had a t-shirt business. That's what he said. After the meeting with myself, we went through this audit, went through the money. He no longer had a t-shirt business. He said, yeah, this is just a hobby, and I will not be doing it anymore because it's costing him more money than it was otherwise. So this is key to remember as small business owners. And last but not least, personal financial history. Lead by example, because you are your business, so you always have to have good credit history. You have to have your finances in order, because they're counting on you to pay back the debt for your business credit. And one tip that I do have is, when you are getting business credit, make certain that where you go to get a credit card or a loan, they're not reporting it on your personal account. Because the whole point of you getting business credit is to keep yourself separate, right? So if I have $50,000 in business credit, I don't want that on my personal credit, because how am I going to buy that house that I wanted? And so what happens is that, working with us at the High Achievement Center, we know institutions that actually, you can get a business credit card, but they're reporting it on your own personal account. One great example, I'm sure everyone has seen the Capital Spark card advertised. That's one of them. They always report it to your personal account with good or bad history. So that doesn't help keep you separate from your business. And now, saying that, everybody had note cards. If you had a question, you can put it on there, or you can just ask the question for Mr. Joe or myself. It's up to you. Some people are shy, some people are not. So at that, I open the floor, I say thank you, and any questions we would love to ask. Have you asked us? Yes, ma'am.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank you both for the information about the credit and the business credit. I was really blown away by the credit part, by the business part. The credit part, I'm pretty familiar with it. So thank you all for that. But one of the things I was interested in was the Inner Tiger program. Can you tell me a little more about that?
Yeah, so on our website, we have the Inner Tiger program, and what that is, it's about purpose and vision. So what happens is that as small business owners or just regular consumers, if you know what your purpose is in life, it makes your life so much easier because you have a narrow path. And so for our Inner Tiger program, we work with people on guiding them to what their purpose is and creating that vision that they have. Because then once, and that's really what Mr. Joe was talking about with your personal credit. If you know why you're getting credit, you're not just gonna go buy a $500 purse with it because you got that new Chase card for $1,000, okay? You're going to have a purpose for it, and that's the reason, that's what's really the Inner Tiger program is about, is to give you clarity so that when distractions come, it's no big deal, because you know where you're headed.
And to add to that as well, is that one of the reasons that one can be successful is when you really understand that your purpose as a foundation being your business allows you to borrow from your credit to accelerate your purpose in conjunction with your business. If you can cultivate that level of understanding and commingle the two, you become very effective in your business, and your purpose becomes one. And then you become excellent at it, then you can flip it over and sell it to the world. And they'll pay for you to be you. That's actually how we started the High Achievement Center in 2017. So to answer that question, that really helps.
Thank you.
Great question.
Any other questions? Does anyone have a question that they'd like us to pick up from them? All right. Well, saying that, we appreciate your attention, and we'd like to give, okay, yes.
I actually do got a question. So can you go a little bit more into Divvy credit? Like what are other fintech companies that you guys recommend not using, and what does just explain a little bit more about Divvy.
Okay, so the Divvy is fintech, but it's great. It's really a great company, especially if you provide products, where you might be purchasing $5,000 worth of products, but it gives you that 30 days to go ahead and sell those products because they take the money out of your checking account in 30 days. But the benefit is that it gives you that ability, if you know what your sales are and you know I'm going to go ahead and I will be able to get through 100 units of this, you can go ahead and use that so that you don't have to use your cash to keep buying it. So that is a benefit with Divvy. And also they don't charge interest. And you get reward points. The other fintech company I'm very familiar with is Capital on Tap. However, you can pay it all or you can use it as a credit card, but their interest rates are rather high. But neither of these accounts report to your personal credit. Any other questions? We're done. Ms. Mel, thank you so much.
Let's give them a hand. I thought that I'm going to ask right now, those surveys that we gave, I'm going to collect them, and then I'm going to give somebody a gift card. So if you got all your information on there, just everybody pass to the right. Just pass it all the way down to the right. I will.
You're right or our right?
You're right. My left. You're right, my left. Anybody, tell me what you thought about today's topic. Anybody, tell me what you thought about today's topic.
Gotta go back to the drawing board.
Gotta go back. Anybody else? Sure made me think of that number in my head. I sure thought about what my credit number was. Just off of the top of your head right now, is there a subject that you would like to know more about business-wise? Just off the top of your head. Anybody? Yes.
Government contracts.
Government contracts,
Bidding.
like for instance, or
Well, me specifically,
what is your business?
I own the business Washington Events, and I'm a corporate meeting planner. So I'm currently doing some of the bidding for like the Navy defense contracts that has to do events. and things of that nature. So that's just the topic that I know a lot of questions.
Okay. You have a lot of questions? or-
Well, it's just, some of the questions that I wish somebody answered prior to diving into that answer. I mean, I've been doing
Okay.
this, so
Okay,
getting on top of that.
okay.
I have one, Mel.
Go ahead.
So I have a lot of business owners that have a problem with social media,
Okay,
especially if they're over the age of 45.
okay.
Because we didn't grow up with Facebook, Instagram.
Well, you know, baby boomers Facebook. Millennial Gen Y is Instagram.
Yes. So that would be wonderful to
Okay.
have more social media, how to really utilize it to boost your business.
That's really good.
It's
that's good.
very, a lot of people have that question because they just don't know. And they didn't, sit on the phone for 3 hours looking at Instagram.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. Jeff, you wanna talk to that?
Well, one of the main things I would say when we talk about branding your business is to make sure you separate your personal Facebook page from your business Facebook page. I see a lot of times when I'm working with businesses trying to get them accredited, it becomes a challenge in the vetting process because they go and they see they got a lot of inappropriate things on their personal Facebook page. They have friends that are not politically correct. Well, when you're trying to do business, you want to be apolitical, you want to leave all that stuff out, and you want to basically separately brand your business Facebook page as a Facebook page for business, so Facebook for business is something. Yeah. One of the other things is you need to build out that page so you have your images. If you have any photos, video, anything that you can attach to those pages to kind of assist you with your branding. The other piece is kind of know your audience as you're trying to build friends and you're making those connections. You want to kind of separate that. But one of the main keys I'll tell you just with Facebook, your website, any type of social media that's out there in that universe, you want to check it as often as you check your credit report. Making sure information is up to date, accurate, adjusting to the times. If you have bad reviews hitting you, address them, and address it head on. Keeping your branded image pretty much tight, so your Facebook page and your website and for those of you that are accredited, your BBB profile page, you want to have consistency branding your business because it's all about your imagery. The benefit, if you do have a BBB profile page, you're able to upload photo and video. It works like a mini website. But if someone Googles your name, they're going to find three things. They're going to find that Facebook. They're going to find that Instagram. They're going to find BBB if you're accredited or not. So people are getting a lot savvy because Mr. Joe mentioned earlier about scams and things like that. They do their homework before they decide to do business with you. So that's why your image is so important. So if you have, and I tell my friends of mine, I totally separate business, email, business voicemail, business from play. I have two emails. I have a business work phone, and one more thing I'll add to that. If you have a voicemail, make sure your business is on there because people are calling and you've reached 248-795.
Miss Jodi talked about that.
And these people are looking to invest or spend some money with you. The last thing they're going to do is leave a message for somebody they don't know who it is. They're leaving there and going to someone that has a professional message on their voicemail on it. So all these image things are important. Along with it, talking about you going to look to get a loan. They're going to do a background on you. They're going to scrub all this. They're going to check and see if you're accredited or not. They're going to see if you have all the proper licensing. If I'm going to extend you a loan, I'm also going to do that background piece. So the pieces that they talked about earlier also is important in your business image and branding. So I hope that helped.
Thank you so much.
Someone raised their hand. Okay. Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Camry Abram, and I'm representing a lender here at Ascendus, the CDFI. So I'm curious as to what lenders do you work with, and Are they traditional lenders, so like Chase and Bank of America? Because you're building a credit to get funding. So just curious what kind of lenders you currently work with.
Yes, that's a good question. We work with, we don't work with, we also have a system that, from our history of obtaining capital, just like last week for our business, we went to borrow $217,000 because we knew that the interest rates were going to raise come the next time, in May, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, and the reason we did that, we didn't need the capital. We did it to have backup for the backup. So when you come to us, or if you choose to come to us, what we do is we design what's effective for you. So what we do is we have data that we utilize in regards to Lake Michigan, Michigan First, and what that is a protocol. And from our years of working with them, because what happens, they solicit for our clients. After you come to the High Achievement Center, you become more knowledgeable. So what can the bank and the credit unions do to you? Sell you more products. So that's why they work with us. But we deal with institutions, we deal with fintech companies, and also more so credit unions, because once that credit gets elevated to that high capacity level, and they, of course, not a visible file, you're now in a category to deal with tier 1 banks, Bank of America, Chase.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Great question.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have a question for Jodi. Earlier you mentioned that you want to ensure that your business is legitimate. And one way to do that is having a legitimate address. And so if you're not in a space to have a corporate building or something of that nature, what's the alternative?
Well, you can also use, like UPS stores, they have a commercial address that you can, and they get your mail. So you get your mail there. If you have delivery for paper or anything that you need for products, they collect it there. So that's one way that you can get that commercial address without having to use your personal address. And it's a nominal, I think it's around $30 to $40 a month, depending what type of box you get. Go ahead.
Are you referencing like virtual addresses?
You can do virtual addresses too.
Okay.
Absolutely. You can use that space a lot of times for meetings.
Okay.
So it helps for you to meet new clients in your office space.
Speaking of virtual, you brought up something very key that is happening now, and I want to bring this to the attention of all of you today, is that within the next 2 weeks, it's going to be very tight to borrow unless you have exceptional credit. And having a home address, like the gentleman indicated, the phone, so forth, the banks are denying you just because of that. Having multiple addresses on your credit report, you're being denied because of that. A variety of inquiries on your credit report, you're being denied. Yes, yes, you're being denied. And that's the reason that we have human-tested data for current timeframes. That's why so many people come with us and to us, because of the effectiveness to get what you want. You want what you need at that time. Notice how I said that. You want what you need, and that is key. Great question.
Do you have a lot of clients that come by and say, oh, I got bad credit because I got a DTE bill on there, a phone bill on there? And the reason that I say that is because I was an underwriter in the mortgage industry, and a lot of people don't know that utility bills, they don't even take into consideration for going to get a mortgage and things like that. So when you have clients that come in with a thin file, how do you lead them to build starting credit when they have that idea that, oh, I got a late DTE bill or utility bill that
Let
I'm
me
in that
answer that.
situation?
All right, so this is the rule of thumb that I use. Your DTE, your utilities, you should be paying them in full every month, period. Because that's how you live. If your electricity gets cut off, how are you gonna take a bath? How are you gonna do your hair? How are you gonna cook? So that's imperative. So if a bank or institution sees a collection, because DTE don't report anymore unless you have a collection, why are they going to give you any money? You can't take care of your needs. That is a need, a human need. And so you have to pay that bill. Otherwise, what's the point? Then you're not ready to get credit. You're not ready to own a home if you can't pay your utility bills on time.
Great question. Yes.
I have a question, and just to reference on, you were speaking about, you can utilize a UPS store,
Yeah.
address. You have to be mindful though, when you go to, like if you go to get a commercial building, you won't be able to change your address from there. I just retired from the post office.
Yes.
So what you have to do then is you have to contact every individual that you have mail coming there. So you just have to be mindful that, because by being an UPS address, you have the mailbox there and they won't allow you to change the address from there. So you just have to make sure you notify everybody that you move into, location.
Yep,
Great point.
yep, absolutely. Miss Mel, you had your hand up.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I
I'll
hope
be
this is
last.
not a silly question, but a lot of us have either children or young people in school, or let's say a 16, 17-year-old. And you know what they like to do, they like to spend money, go to the movies, they're going on vacation, buying cars. So we all know what we have to do, but what would be something that you would say to a 16-year-old right now in this recession that would get their attention?
Andrew, yes?
Yes.
Okay. The number one thing that I say to youthful individuals is I consider the grandmother approach. The grandmother approach goes like this. The grandmother normally comes down to their level to communicate with that person that's that youthful, and they look to understand what is it that they expect to happen before you respond to any type of question. So a child of that age looking to obtain a vehicle, you know what you do? You say, yes, we can get that vehicle, but this is what we need to do. And you orchestrate that by educating them, by giving them a time frame and a deadline. The deadline, 2 years before you get that vehicle. Why? Because, Andrew, do not co-sign. Do not.
Definitely.
Do not co-sign.
Do not.
So you're giving them an incentive, and that summer, have them be employed. So therefore, you're giving them habits. The key element to success is habits, because that's what predicts your future. Not the actions of you, it's the habit of. That's what I would recommend. Yes.
Second of all, on that same scenario,
Sure.
let's say that they have a job that they're into, a full-time job while they're going to school.
Okay.
Realistically, what would you recommend that they save? Well, again, it's going to depend upon the
Sure.
job, the rate of pay.
The vehicle is
But
low.
what would be the expectations for savings?
One of the things that I say all the time for saving is that it's a timetable and also how much income. So I like to come in that equation with getting data from the child. And by you having that type of conversation, guess what you're doing? You're incentivizing communication. High-level communication is key when you're interacting with someone that's youthful. So what you want to do is you want to ask them a simple question. This is the time frame. Design a plan. What's the payoff? What is the process? And then by you educating them, by you saying what you've done in the past as well, then you can have a goal to obtain that vehicle. But it may be $100, then you'll match $100. Okay? But the key element with that type of individual, clarity, communication, understanding, and a time frame. That's what I would say. Yeah, you're more than welcome. Great question. Very good question.
Anyone else? We just went from business 101 to parenting 101.